Terminator Genisys. My original plan was not to review this film till I had reviewed the first 4 Terminator films, just for some continuity. It's the 5th film, want to get them out of the way. That's what I usually try and do with these franchises. Unfortunately, I have only reviewed the first 2, and this is going to come in the middle of my reviews, and why is that? Why have I decided to review this one now? Well, firstly, because I've just come back from seeing it, and secondly, because I have this anger inside of me that I really want to preserve, so that I can really bring out my true reaction when I review this. I'm going to put a pin in that for a second though, and we're going to go into the plot. The plot of Terminator Genisys. This is going to sound pretty familiar for the most part. In the future, we start off in the future, we get to see a big old battle and Skynet gets shut down. The humans win the war in the future, but unfortunately, before that happened, Skynet managed to send an Arnold Schwarzenegger style Terminator back to do, what they did in the first film. And so John Connor of the future's like, damn, we're not going to win now because they've sent one back in time, they're going to change the future, we need to do the same, and, bloody blah blah, kill a Terminator in the past, bloody blah blah. So Kyle Reese, played by Jai Courtney, says, I'd like to go back, and he's like, why you? And he's like, because, oh, your mum's real hot. So he hops in the time machine, goes back to 1984, where he finds that Sarah Connor, played by Emilia Clarke, isn't the waitress he thought he was going to be like in the first film. She is actually already a badass, because she's already been brought up by Arnie Terminator, but a good one, a different one. Where did he come from? The film doesn't tell you. It leaves that question open. So it's like, this is a different timeline, and the film talks about that. This is a different timeline for some reason. For some reason. Although in this timeline, Terminators are still trying to kill Sarah Connor, and Arnie has to protect them again. It's the same. The same again. There's been a lot of talk of this film about the trailers and how they actually spoil all the twists of the film, and I managed to avoid the trailers. I generally try to do that because I'm afraid this stuff happens, and then I watch the trailer afterwards and I can say, yeah, it does, it spoils it. But even if you've seen the trailers, it's not going to make you enjoy the film any less. Still an awful way of doing things, but even if you didn't know anything about the film when you went in, it wouldn't make it any better. Yeah, Terminator Genisys, it sucks a lot. I absolutely hate this film. It's one of the worst movies I've seen all year, actually. It's really quite dreadful. I hate it a lot. It's really bad. But I've seen bad films before. I've seen worse films before, but they don't make me mad. Why does this film make me really mad after having seen it? Well, I have a very good reason for that. This film is straight up lazy. This is one of the laziest remakes I have ever seen in my entire life. This film's meant to take place alongside the events of the first and second Terminator films, the brilliant ones. It's meant to take place around that time, so there are some similarities. I was expecting that. So much of this film, I've already seen it. It was a bit charming at first, the way the director's trying to take shots from the first film, like move them apart. That made sense. It was like right at the beginning, and they're travelling back in time, and the time travel shots are the same. And I was like, okay, That's kind of cool. That's nostalgia right there. I can get behind that a little bit. But it doesn't stop. I saw it with my girlfriend, and she leans over to me and says, are they just recreating the same thing again? They're going to do the exact same thing. And I was sitting there like, stupid girl. They did the exact same thing. She was right. I was wrong. That hurts me. And I'm so angry they spent the whole film ripping off the first 2. So many shots in this movie are straight from the first ones. So many of the elements, so many of the themes, so many of the ideas. It's not doing what a reboot should do. It's not freshening it up. It is taking the first 2 films, doing the same thing again, and making it worse. It's not even doing it well. First half hour, 45 minutes of this film, when they get back to 1984, the T-1000 appears again. The liquid metal guy from T2, that scary guy, that guy who's like, I don't want to mess with you. He's back. Why is he back? I get they're trying to do timelines alongside the first 2 films, but remember, he wasn't in 1984, was he? He appeared in the second film, so they're already putting him somewhere where he wasn't originally. So why don't you put someone new? He just does all the same stuff as the first time. But they just don't do anything new. I've already seen this. And so some of the first part of the film is to do with taking down this T-1000, and it feels as if in the middle of the film, at the first sort of leg of the film, they have done a climax. The first Terminator film and the second one both have incredible climaxes, especially the second one. And this one feels like it's trying to do a huge climax before we even get things going, before we even have a grip on what is going on and where the film is going to go. And the film tries to throw surprises at you, but it can't, Because it uses the same surprises that they did in the first films. The Terminators can shapeshift. Oh, I hope they don't have an identity. Oh, they did have an identity crisis moment. What a surprise. Well, I hope that when they shoot the Terminator, they're not going to try and make us think it's dead, but then it's going to get back. Oh, it's back up and it's going to keep going. Well, I hear they have a new Terminator, you know, a new one that could do some new cool... Oh, he does the exact same things as the T-1000. There is nothing new. Not only are scenes recreated, not only are villains recreated, but dialogue is just done again. The third and fourth Terminator film did this. You know, they've gone and they keep saying the words, you know, I'm back. And it's like, oh, that's funny because it was in the first film. They've done this for movies now. And this one is the worst. It just does... Every bit of dialogue from Terminator 1 and 2, I swear to God, is in this film. Over and over again, it's, I'll be back. Come with me if you want to live. It absolutely will not stop. Pity, remorse, it will kill you, blah, blah, blah. They just use the same things again. And sometimes they try and change the context of it for it to be like, oh, that's a fun little play. You made it mean something else. But other times it's just like, no, we're going to say it again. Because that's funny, isn't it, that you're going to see it again. Not only is the dialogue the same, though, but the jokes are the same. You know that funny bit in Terminator 2 where he's trying to teach Arnold Schwarzenegger how to smile and he's like... And it was like, that's pretty funny. It was genuinely humorous. In this film, they do it like 3, 4, 5 times, and it's like, we've already seen this joke. You've told this joke already, don't do it again. And this film tells a lot more jokes from the first films. It does it over and over again, and they aren't funny. Some of them are funny, okay. To be fair, a few of them are like, that's pretty funny, but most of them are not funny. I mean, this movie is the epitome of laziness. This is the most lazy remake I have seen in recent memory. It really is that just blatant rubbish. It's such dreck, and it doesn't even make any attempt to do anything really new. And when it does, it's terrible. For example, they do have new stuff going on, this whole alternate timeline thing. Okay, let's work with that. Oh, they have an app that's releasing that is gonna, okay, this could be a little different. But the screenplay and the writing is so bogged down with fan service and just nonsense that a lot of the time, you don't really know what's going on. For example, in Terminator 2, okay, let's look back at that film. They're running away from this T-1000. They're like, okay, we've got to get away. And it's like, okay, they got to get away because that thing's going to kill them. I understand. But you also know that what they're going to do once they get away. You know what they want to do. You know what their plans are. It's like, okay, once they get away from that, they're going to go there and they're going to try and stop that. So that makes complete sense. I'm completely with you. I know what you're doing. And that makes you want them to get away because you want to see these things happen. In this film, I don't know if they mentioned it, but it's so bogged down in everything, I didn't hear it anyway. So they're going off doing stuff, getting chased. It's like, there is no reason for me to want you to get away. There is absolutely no reason because I don't know where you're going. So why would I want you to go there? I just don't know what you want. I've said in my reviews for the first 2 films, the Terminator timeline is broken. It doesn't work. But this film takes something that's broken and breaks it. It just mutilates every little string that didn't work before. But James Cameron knew that. He knew that time travel in the way he wanted it to work didn't work. So what did he do? Well, he brushed it under the rug. He didn't talk about it that much. He did the least he could to get the story across. And some might say that's lazy. And I can see why you'd say that, but he did what he had to do to tell the story he wanted to tell. Suspension of disbelief. We do it in films all the time, so why, we did it back then and we love those films. Almost everyone loves them. And in this film, they're like, okay, look, we got loads of plot holes. Oh, we need to explain them. We need to explain them somehow. So they spend so much of the film trying to fill in every little pothole, but they actually make more than they did before. And the ones they try to explain, they don't explain because they use some big mumbo-jumbo words that no one understands. And they try and make it funny. They're like, haha, look, he's saying things that are complicated and they're making jokes about how complicated it is. That makes it okay. It doesn't, because it still doesn't make sense. So what is the point? You aren't explaining anything. This timeline doesn't work, it doesn't make sense, and it's just boring because of it. And 100%, that is the worst part of this film. It is straight up brain-melting boring. Terminator Salvation was boring, it was dull, but it wasn't cripplingly dull. It just kind of, it's one of those films that, like I say this quite a lot, it just kind of happens to you and it's like, ugh. Oh well, move on, it wasn't that great. This film is just obnoxiously dull. It's so boring. And when you think about it, a lot of stuff happens in the film. So why is it boring? Well, that's because we don't know what's happening. It doesn't explain it. So a lot of the time we're watching these action sequences, it's like, there isn't really any context here. It's like, why is this happening? And so because you're confused and the screenplay makes no sense and you don't know what the story is going for, you're not invested. And at least the story in Terminator Salvation tried something new and it made sense for the most part. It's boring, but it makes sense. This one doesn't make any sense. Beyond that, all the characters are boring. Emilia Clarke does an okay job at Sarah Connor. Pales in comparison to Linda Hamilton, but whatever. She's fine. Jai Courtney, what a bland, boring piece of furniture. Kyle Reese, one of the most important people in the Terminator franchise. Let's give the role to a boring person. Okay, away with you. Jason Clarke as John Connor. The guy doesn't look like John Connor. And that's a subjective thing, okay? That doesn't have to be a proper thing. But his acting, objectively, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really make much sense. Is wooden and dull as the character, and it just doesn't sell to me that he is this leader of the future. But even then, he just doesn't look like a John Connor. Why did you pick him? Arnold Schwarzenegger does fine as a Terminator. He tells too many jokes this time around, and most of them aren't funny. They're okay, they're relatively amusing, but they're not as funny as stuff in T2, which was done with actual wit, and at that time, they were original jokes. I mean, J.K. Simmons is in this film, and he does a great job, because I love J.K. Simmons. He has such good timing, such good comic wit, and he's just a great actor. Hugely underrated. Hopefully Whiplash has done enough to really turn that around and make him recognised, but he does a great job. He is genuinely funny. He is not in it anywhere near enough. But this film is just straight up boring, and most of it is running from this new Terminator who is, I will not spoil, from this new Terminator who they shoot at him and it doesn't hurt him and they run away. They shoot at him, slow him down, doesn't hurt him, runs away. Rinse and repeat until they figure out how to actually deal with a bloody thing, and then they have to get there. Boom, 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 run away. Boom, 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 run away. Boom, 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 boom. I could go on for hours about how much I hate this film, but I'm not going to. All you want to know is the score, no doubt. I give it a 3 out of 10. One of the worst films I have seen this year. I absolutely hated this film. And I know I compared it a lot to the first 2 films. Trust me, if those films didn't exist, it would still be bad. It's just lazy now that they exist. But guys, what did you think of Terminator Genisys? Did you think that it completely ruined everything you loved about Terminator? Yes, you did. Or on the other hand, did you legitimately enjoy the film on some level that I personally don't understand, but I'd love to hear why you did, so just comment in the boxes below and let me know what you think. But guys, that was my review. I'm sorry for being so militant, but this really got on my nerves. Guys, if you like this video, please like and favourite in the boxes below. You know what to click. And if you really liked it and you want to see more, please subscribe. It helps me so much more than you know. And thank you again for watching.